Today on Community Watch, we have an excellent Georgia Highlands alumnus, Eduardo Rico, who has his own very successful business, ABI Lawns. You want to hear from Eduardo. Don't go away. Community Watch starts now. Welcome to Community Watch. I am John Hershey, and I am thrilled to have with me today on the set Mr. Eduardo Rico.
Thank you, Dr. Hershey. It's a
Welcome.
pleasure being here. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Now, you have a dynamic, growing business, ABI Lawns, and I was going to say that this is a Rome business, and I guess it is basically, but you travel a little bit in your business, don't you?
Correct. Yeah, we're based out of Rome, but we're really all over the surrounding counties and cities, Cartersville, etc. So in this region, predominantly in Rome.
And I know that even though the name of your business is ABI Lawns, you do a lot more than lawns.
Absolutely. We do everything. The way I like to tell people is if you look outside your window and you see something that needs attention, that's where we come in.
Okay.
Whether it's just your lawn maintenance, shrubbery, drainage systems, grading, sod, you want new grass, anything like that, planting, that's where we come in.
So everything outside.
Everything outside that has to do with lawns, with landscaping.
Well, I know you started this business. Well, tell us a little bit about how it began. Now, we're going to talk business for a little bit, but I also want to talk about your college experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, it all started kind of like a lot of people start, I think, in my line of work. Is just on the side, just kind of making extra income. But I've done it several years, ever since I was younger. Growing up, I had uncles that had landscaping businesses, so I worked with them, learned some things, and then I worked for a company several years, but I was off 3 days a week, so that allowed me to kind of on my own on the weekends do extra work, and then eventually it turned into now what, like you said, it's a very busy company, and here we are. So it's been about 2 years since I've decided to do this as a full-time gig, and I don't regret it.
And pretty soon you'll be in like multi-states around the country.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice.
Well, I think the fact that you started very small business and it has grown this quickly, because in business world, I think 2 years is pretty quick, and that you are in this much demand, it says a lot about it says a lot about you as a person, as well as the work that you do. So I think that's pretty great.
Yeah, absolutely.
You've got to be pleased with this.
Absolutely. I mean, I was blessed that I had this opportunity to be an entrepreneur, start my business, and stay small. Have my family really that is my core group, and that works for me. It works with me, and so I've been very fortunate to do so. Yeah.
Well, I know. Before we get to the end of the show, we will share out some contact information, so individuals can reach out to you. But I want to go back in time a little bit, because I know that you are an alum from Georgia Highlands, and that you got your associate degree in, was it in business?
Business.
It was in business.
Yep.
At Georgia Highlands. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about about what that experience was like for you.
Absolutely.
Um, what were the circumstances that you chose to come to Georgia Highlands instead of say
Yeah.
Georgia Tech
Yeah.
or wherever you might have gone?
Absolutely. So Georgia Highlands, well, one, it's got several campuses. It was close. Aside from the obvious, coming out of high school, you're looking to where you best fit in, based on what you want to do, what you want to major in, but also financially. What attracted me to Highlands was those things, but also just the fact that it was close to home. It was very easy from the application process, visiting the campus, and it was just a good fit for me and what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to go to well, at the time, pursue a 2-year degree. Now there's 4-year degrees, so many 4-year degrees at Georgia Highlands now. But it was easy for me to just go with Highlands based on what I wanted to do.
And I can't remember, but I know that it's easy for a student to attend Highlands and continue to work. I don't remember if you were working at the time or not.
Oh yeah, that was actually another factor as well. I mean, I was working full time, and so I started Highlands part time. I think I started with like 2 or 3 classes, just starting off, because I knew I wanted to work, but I also wanted to pursue an education. And so I worked actually the whole time I was at Highlands, a full-time job, I believe. I think there might have been a couple semesters where I didn't work full-time, and then finished up and just kept working. So it just allowed my schedule. It allowed me to get an education, to pursue an education, and without really interfering with anything else that I had going on or that I wanted to accomplish.
And I don't want to identify the actual years you were at Georgia Highlands, because you were such a young man. But I don't believe that when you attended Highlands, we had the option of online classes. I don't think we did.
I didn't take any online classes, and I don't think we did, because that would have worked for me as well. But I do know, but now we have several.
A lot.
Yeah, and I know when I was at Highlands, I don't even think that was something we were
it
talking
existed
about.
then.
Yeah.
I don't think it existed then. Of course, I've been at Highlands so long that I can tell stories about what life was like before the internet existed.
Right.
So I told you how
haven't been
crazy
that long.
old I am. But no, so you didn't have the option of online classes, but you still made it work.
Yeah.
Around your work schedule to come.
Absolutely.
So students who know that they do better in person than online still have that option, because you did that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I would rather do myself in-person classes, but I do know that a lot of people would prefer online.
Yeah.
More convenience, frees up more time. Absolutely. So both online and in person, but the online option is great.
Yeah. So your experience at Highlands, let's talk a little bit more about that. Now, my memory is that you were a pretty solid student.
Yep.
Did you feel like you got the help that you needed when you did need help?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was one thing that, I don't think I would have been as successful and as I was if I didn't have the sources that I had. I had a lot of teachers, yourself included, that I reached out to, that helped me. I was part of Brother to Brother, which was an amazing club, amazing organization. And so, I was able to just get in there with a group of guys and a group of people that was really a support group. And then that really, pushed me as well to do and finish and accomplish the goals that I had at the time with my education.
So we probably, since you mentioned Brother to Brother, we probably ought to explain that
Absolutely.
is a student organization that focuses on the success of minority men, primarily African American and Latino men. And there's a lot of leadership development in that organization too. And you are still connected to some of those guys.
Yeah, some of the guys, are local, so we see each other every now and then. We're friends. Some of the guys I went to school with, and some of the guys we still keep in touch. So if we were to need anything, any help with anything, still I know that I could just call on them as if back when we were in school.
That's great.
So, yeah.
And I know that you have been very good to come back when you have the availability to come back and talk to some of the current students who are in that organization, just to talk about your experience a little bit. So
yeah. Anytime that we can share or help or be there for some of the active students, it's a great thing. Yeah.
And I may be wrong, but have you have sent some young men to our foundation camp too, haven't you?
Yeah. I think I've had family members. Some of my cousins that have attended as well, and people that we know, that I know. Yeah.
So, and that's coming up again. I'm throwing out a plug there to foundation camp. That's coming up again
soon.
this July.
Yeah.
So reach out to me if you so it's for young men ages 10 to 14. So let me know. So you had what you would say a pretty positive experience as a student while you were at Georgia Highlands.
Yep. It was great. The whole time I was there. I was there more than, I think I was there like 3 years, like I said, 3 or 4 years. I was doing part-time, started out as part-time until I graduated. So, the whole time.
Now, did you have any full-time semesters?
I think I might have had one, maybe two. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I understand.
It was a couple of years ago.
I was just wondering because I wondered if you were able to do a full-time semester, which I'm guessing, because we have quite a few students who work part-time, but then they're ready to reach the finish line.
Absolutely.
So sometimes they'll.
Yeah. Well, I know when I was finishing up, I took on more classes. So that was one, but I can't remember. I might have done one before that just to finish and graduate.
But you were able to do that while still working.
Yeah, absolutely. I was working at the place I worked several years, and as soon as I graduated Highlands, I got a promotion, and went to work and stayed there for a long time, about a decade.
Well, I'm glad that Georgia Highlands had a small part in getting you the promotion you needed.
Absolutely.
So that was good.
Yeah.
All right, Eduardo, we are coming up on our break pretty shortly. When we come back, I want to talk to you a little bit about Georgia Highlands as an option for Latino students in general overall. And we'll also give another plug and some instructions for your business too, which is
great.
I'm surprised you could join us.
Thank you.
All right, so stay with us. A lot more with Eduardo Rico. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
belong at Georgia Highlands College. As a University System of Georgia college, GHC offers high quality and career focused instruction at a fraction of the cost, with over 40 programs to choose from, including 8 career targeted bachelor's degrees. With small class sizes and personalized attention, our programs are designed to help you achieve your goals and make a positive impact in your community. So, what are you waiting for? You belong at Georgia Highlands College.
Welcome back to Community Watch. I'm having a conversation with Eduardo Rico, who is the CEO, president, and probably the entire executive board of ABI Lawns.
That's right.
Which a business that you started just a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
and is now really taken off.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
In fact, during the break, you had to handle like 20 business calls. They're just calling right and left.
I handle them. Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of calls, but that's how it is.
Well, that's good. Let's go ahead, and we'll repeat it at the end, but let's go ahead and let people know how to reach your business if they need to.
Yeah, absolutely. Social media is huge. Social media. You can go on there and find all my info, my cell phone directly.
I know you're on Facebook.
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok.
Really?
TikTok is popular and it works. Yeah. Or they could just call you and you could just contact me directly.
Yes, I can do
that. Yeah, absolutely.
Facebook is of those things you mentioned. That's the only world I can understand. So, but that's great, and it's under ABI.
ABI Lawns. Yep, ABI Lawns. At ABI Lawns. Phone numbers in there as well.
Well, great.
Yep.
Great. We'll repeat this at the end for folks who missed it.
Absolutely.
All right, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about the Latino community and college. I know that our Latino population in the area, like throughout the state, and I would guess throughout the country, is growing pretty dramatically. And did you graduate from Rome?
Rome High School.
Rome High School.
Rome High School.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I know Rome High School has a pretty large Latino population.
Yeah.
So, all large group of students, all kinds of students have just graduated.
Yeah.
Some of them may have definite plans, but there are probably quite a few hadn't quite figured it out yet. Would you recommend Georgia Highlands as an option for Latino students especially, but any student?
Yeah, in the Latino community, if it were anything like when I was growing up, I had parents that, a lot of times, or I was the first one in my family to graduate high school, to go to pursue any education after high school. First one in college, obviously. And so it was kind of like an area where we didn't have a lot of education. I really didn't. I wasn't exactly sure. I think like a lot of people, just in general, a lot of students, they're testing the waters. They may not know exactly what they want to do. And so Highlands, like I mentioned earlier, it was local. It's a great organization, but I learned as I went. But I knew that going into Highlands, I could pursue an education and I didn't have to have it all figured out. Because, like I mentioned earlier, I was the first one in my family to go to college. I really didn't know what I was getting into. I really didn't know what I wanted to do, what I wanted to pursue. And I think a lot of families are like that. You mentioned the Latino community growing. My son plays soccer now. And I remember I played soccer in high school, and I don't know what percentage of us were Latino in high school, but I know now at Rome High School, there's a lot more Latino students than there were when I was in high school, when I graduated. And a lot of them as well, just from knowing, being in the community and knowing families and knowing people, they're first time gonna be first time college students, so they're not exactly sure. But Georgia Highlands allows you to go to school, and you have room to play with. Whether you don't have to necessarily commit to a 4-year university where you're stuck in a 4-year program, and flexibility is great. That's one thing I loved about Highlands. Like I said, I was able to go in there and with some guidance, actually figure out what I wanted to do, and I ended up staying there and graduating from Highlands and not transferring out or anything like that for that reason as well.
Well, you brought up several things that I'd like to elaborate on, and one is this is something that is certainly not an issue with Latino students only, but the fact that you are a first generation in your family, first in your family to go to college, that is something that's not unusual for our students overall. We have first generation students. I couldn't give you a percentage or a number, but I know we have a significant number of first generation students who, like you, didn't really know what to expect from college. And for that reason, I think a lot either put college off or they don't, they're, I don't want to say they're afraid.
Well, there's an intimidation factor. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I ran into. And I just couldn't, I knew I wanted to do something, but I wasn't sure. I didn't know, I wasn't really fully educated on how the process worked as far as applying, the whole application process, getting accepted, all that. I kind of learned as I went. But I knew if I went to Highlands, I can't go wrong. It's here, it's local. There's a lot of, when I went to visit, there's a lot of familiar faces. There's a lot of people that I knew, but also a lot of resources that I knew I had. And that's why, I decided, I applied, and it was very easy, and had a lot of help as well.
Well, I hope, I was going to say, I hope that the folks at Georgia Highlands made it as easy as possible when you were going through that application process.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It was it's pretty clear cut. But yeah, like I said, it was definitely intimidating. And I know it can be intimidating for a lot of Latino students, especially, like you said, being first generation. But man, Highlands is a great place. Great place.
Well, what would you say? Because I imagine, especially with first generation students, I imagine that there are parents, there are families out there who don't really know the benefits of college. They may not know enough about the experience to encourage a son or daughter to go to college. What would you say to them?
Well, reach out. There's a lot of, like I mentioned, resources now. Reach out, get some information, see what Highlands has to offer. But if it was anything like me, you're gonna be pretty. I was surprised actually at the help I got and the people that help facilitate the whole process. And then you get in there and you can really ask. You were a teacher. You taught. I relied on you for a lot, as well as my other professors. So it's intimidating, but if you just ask, get information, I think it'll help ease some of the intimidation.
I know one thing we like to say is that what college can do for you is provide you options for careers, as opposed to just a job after school, and some jobs are great and fine, of course, but a career can be a fulfilling life beyond that. Something as you raise your family.
Yep.
Plus, now I don't know this. We haven't discussed this before, but I'm guessing that as a college graduate yourself, your expectations for your own children may be in that direction too.
Absolutely.
I'm guessing that that's the case.
Yeah, I mean that's the goal, right? I mean, you always want your kids to be better than you. I mentioned my son earlier. He's growing up. My daughter.
Has he got a soccer scholarship yet?
Not yet. But my daughter, she's going into middle school, Rome, and I went to Rome Middle School, and one of the things that I'm going to suggest for her is go to Highlands, because I want you to have it. I want you to know what you're doing, and not be like me where I wasn't unsure. But I knew I wanted to get an education. So whether if she's unsure, I want her to at least go to a couple of years before, like you mentioned, it's a good foundation. I mean, I went to Highlands. I ended up graduating from Highlands, but I wasn't sure. I said maybe I'll transfer out, get a 4-year degree, go to Kennesaw State or something. And I actually ended up getting my bachelor's, and then, like I mentioned, went straight to work, got promoted, and I never went back to school. But yeah, it allowed me absolutely to even today to run a business, because a lot of the what I learned, accounting, all the business classes that I took, I mean, I'm applying that today. And that was, 10 years later.
In fact, because you are running your own business, you're doing all of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I think if I was having the conversation actually with my dad, the other day, and we were talking about how hot it was, and I said, man, like everything that I've done though is led up to this, and I mentioned, accounting classes at Highlands. And that's helping me right now run my business. Absolutely, yeah.
And I know that we have discussed, briefly the challenges that you're having with your business because you're in such demand. So you're having some growing issues, but what a great problem to have. Too much business is always better than not enough business. So
absolutely,
that's great.
That's great. It's a problem, but it's a good problem. Yeah.
Well, we have a little time left, so I want to make sure we get your contact information out again. So how do people find ABI Lawns?
All right. So my phone number is 706-512-0213. But like I mentioned, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I don't have a website yet, but social media at ABI Lawns, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or any social media platform. Yeah.
And I want to say if anyone watching is interested in finding out more about Georgia Highlands, you can reach me at jhershey, JHERSHEY, at highlands.edu. Eduardo, it's been a pleasure, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Continued good luck.
I appreciate it.
And stay in the shade if you can.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us this week on Community Watch. We will see you next time. Bye now.